Brexit will not change too much for travelers destined for Great Britain. The most important difference concerns, but not immediately, the travel document required. Many rights remain with vacationers. An overview of the new rules is what I've got for you today. The Brexit transition phase ended at the end of 2020. Now the new trade agreement between the EU and the United Kingdom took effect. But how does this affect people with travel plans to the British Isles? And of course, just to add this in the first place, at the moment, nobody should travel anywhere as long as we are in this pandemic situation that we are. But still, it will end. I'm absolutely sure about this. Nobody can say when we can get back to normal, but we will get back to normal. And from then, people will travel again, me included, and that's why these rules are important to know. The most important change will not take effect until autumn. From October 1st, 2021, a passport will be required to enter Great Britain and Northern Ireland, as the European Consumer Centre Germany, it's called EVZ, explains. EVZ because of the German name of them. The citizen's office at the hometown issues the passport. The amount of the cost depends on the age of the applicant, the number of pages and the processing time. But they are not cheap. That's why most Germans only have an ID card, because most Germans, to be honest, only need their ID card. They can travel with the ID card everywhere in the EU and several other places as well and don't need a passport. Mine just expired, by the way. I need a new one too. And they are expensive. The identity card, on the other hand, will only be accepted for entry until September 30th. However, holidaymakers still do not need to apply for UK visa. And just to add one word about the ID card, because I know that many people in the UK are complaining about the idea of an ID card and complaining to register wherever you live all the time and so on. It has one big advantage. You are by law supposed to have an ID card in Germany. And on the other hand, by law, you have to register where you live. But that is really helpful in one point where there's always an issue in the UK. With your ID card and this registration, you're automatically registered to vote. So no one here, that except some small exceptions because people from the EU come in here and so on, can vote in certain elections, needs to register for voting. You're automatically registered and you automatically get your voting card. It says where you have to go to vote and stuff like that before the elections. So that's quite nice. And of course it has other legal advantages with people not going undercover that easily and stuff like that. But there's one mistake people always make. I don't have to carry it around all the time. I have to own one. I don't have to have it with me all the time. But let's come back to the business. There's an exception to the requirement for a passport for certain people. Anyone who has a settled or pre-settled status, is a cross-border commuter or an S2 healthcare visitor, can use their ID card to enter the country until December 31st, 2025. If you rent a rental car for a tour in Great Britain, you can continue to use the German, European or international driver's license. And there's still good news for travelers. The European Health Insurance Card, the EHIC, issued by German health insurance companies, and the Provisional Replacement Certificate remain valid for holiday trips. With the EHIC, travelers within the EU as well as in Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Switzerland and the United Kingdom can go to the doctor in an emergency and receive the same benefits as the citizens of the respective country of travel. The costs for emergency treatment are covered by the health insurance. However, consumer advocates generally recommend additional travel health insurance for trips outside Germany because health insurance companies often do not reimburse all treatment costs. The EU passenger rights apply to all flights that start within the EU and to all flights that land in the EU if the airline is based in the EU. We had the same issue with the stakeholders last time. They regulate the amount of compensation, for example, if an aircraft breaks down or is significantly delayed. From January 1st, it looks like this now. The rights continue to apply to all flights from the United Kingdom and to flights from the EU there by airlines based in the EU. However, they no longer apply if you are flying to the EU from a third country such as the USA with a British airline. Anyone traveling to Great Britain on the Eurostar train or a long-distance bus will continue to be subject to the relevant passenger rights, for example in the event of delays. According to the EVZ, EU legislation has been converted into British law. In the EU, there are no longer any roaming charges for phone calls using smartphones and for mobile surfing. This rule is no longer applicable to the United Kingdom. However, German network operators have announced that they do not want to change any existing tariffs for the time being, and other operators in other EU countries and in the UK did the same. If in doubt, consumers should ask their provider about the specific costs before traveling. Due to the corona pandemic, the number of trips from Germany to Great Britain, Northern Ireland is currently significantly lower than in previous years. In its travel advice, the Federal Foreign Office warns against unnecessary tourist trips to the whole of the United Kingdom. And anyway, unnecessary tourist trips, who's doing those at the moment really has some brain issues. Sorry. The travel law regulations for the post-Brexit period will therefore only become immediately noticeable for many people when the travel volume increases again in the future. After the end of the Brexit transition phase, there are hardly any effects on travel and goods traffic at Frankfurt Airport. There is no increased workload in the International Post Center or in customs clearance at the airport, said a spokeswoman for the Frankfurt Customs Office. But as I said, many Germans, for example, don't send anything at the moment because they're waiting for everything. They are hoping to go smoother in a couple of months. Since January 1st, all freight shipments, travel and mail have been subject to general customs regulations and customs controls. Travelers entering Germany from the UK now have to pay customs duties for goods they have purchased above a certain value. As in the case of other non-EU countries, goods up to a value of 430 euros can be imported duty-free as a travel allowance. Don't mix up travel allowance, what you can bring with yourself when you're coming, with shipping, please. Shipping is much lower. Also, because the corona pandemic is slowing down the volume of flights and travel anyway, the end of the Brexit transition phase does not mean longer queues at immigration controls. So far, there has been little impact, said a spokesman for the Federal Police. But when the situation goes back to normal after Corona, I expect something else. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.